Another day, someone announces that the meeting will start at 7 and asks Assistant Lee to go get the director. She knocks on the door, enters, and mentions the meeting. He quickly asks what happened. Jung-oh, seeing him getting ready, asks if he's going home now, since he had said today they'd decide the direction of the competitive presentation. He remembers and replies that something came up suddenly, so they'll do it tomorrow morning. Also, the planning team hasn't finished the research materials either, so they'll review everything together the next day. Curious, Jung-oh asks what the matter is, and Ji-haeon replies that it's something personal. That annoys her. She thinks that when it was about her, he made her work overtime even though it was Yina's birthday. Even so, she says it would be best to finish the work before everyone leaves, so his presence is essential. He asks if this is because of what happened last time, and says that he already apologized for that. But she knows that deep down he didn't mean it, leaving him speechless. He admits he's not good at empathizing, and that it's also a consequence of the accident 7 years ago. Still, he acknowledges it's his fault, since he's never tried to understand anyone. He sincerely apologizes to her for what happened that day. He slowly approaches her, repeating that he's sorry, getting closer each time, which makes Jung-oh blush. Then, in a soft voice, he asks her to relax and says they'll see each other tomorrow. That, however, leaves her a little upset. Back in the meeting room, they ask about the director. Jung-oh informs them that he said he has a personal matter to attend to, and that the meeting will be held tomorrow morning. The team leader responds that it's great, since the planning team showed the research results and found something that was missing, so they'll organize everything for the next day. But then Ki-hoon asks if Jung-oh is sick. She denies it. The young man comments that her face is red, and the assistant replies it's because it's a bit hot. Meanwhile, on the way to his friend's house, Ji-haeon asks if he can just show his face to the kids and leave. Seung-yu asks him if he's in a hurry, but Ji-haeon replies that he doesn't know how to behave around kids, and that makes him a bit nervous. His friend tells him there are no rules for seeing kids, and Ji-haeon says he's not like him, who knows how to have fun with them. Seung-yu asks what he's talking about and explains that he just watches them closely, smiles at them, and moves around a little. That makes Ji-haeon even more nervous. His friend clarifies that he doesn't have to sing or dance, it's just that being around kids makes him move a lot. Besides, it'll be a good experience, since one day he'll be a dad too. Ji-haeon replies that he's not sure that will ever happen. When they arrive, Seung-yu's children greet their dad, and Yena greets him too. Then Seung-yu asks them to greet Uncle Ji-haeon, which the 3 little ones do enthusiastically. Seung-yu's wife also greets him, saying it's a pleasure to see him again. The director replies it's nothing, and thanks her for having him. But she insists on thanking him, since she knows he's busy and still came to visit. She asks if he's had dinner and tells him to wait a bit. Meanwhile, Yena takes her uncle's hand and tells him she was waiting for him. He thinks she probably wants another round of Go. The girl begins to set up the board from where they left off. Ji-haeon, seeing that, asks if she remembers everything from that day, and the little girl nods. They start playing, and he reflects that she's improved over the past 3 weeks. He even thinks he might lose. Dobin, curious, asks if Yena is going to win or lose. She replies that she doesn't know yet. Then, the boy looks at his uncle, worried about what will happen if he loses. Then something unexpected happens. They hear the sound of someone collapsing. Dobin's mother has fainted. Ji-haeon, seeing her, asks what's wrong, but Seung-yu is already helping his wife, while the children look on, concerned. The director says he'll call an ambulance, but his friend replies that it's not necessary, that it'll be faster if he takes her straight to the hospital. He apologizes and asks Ji-haeon to look after the kids for a while. He tells him not to worry and to go right away. The children also want to go, but unfortunately they can't, and they stay behind crying, worried about their mother. Dobin asks if his mom is going to die. Ji-haeon replies that she's not, that everything will be okay. The boy asks how he knows, and he replies that he knows everything. He tells him to calm down and says he shouldn't cry in front of his girlfriend. After a while, the boy relaxes, which leaves Ji-haeon exhausted. Then he feels someone's gaze. It's Yena, who seems to want a hug too. Seeing her, he apologizes, saying he can't hug her. However, the girl's eyes start to fill with tears, which makes Ji-haeon wonder if he can really hurt a little girl like that. With no other choice, he tells her he'll hug her, but asks her to make a promise, not to tell her mom he's a bad person, and if she agrees. The little girl nods. When she receives her uncle's hug, Yena is amazed at how tall he feels. She compares it to when her mother hugs her and leans against him. Jihyun asks if she's sick or has a fever. Yena replies no, that she's fine. But when he strokes her head, he notices something. A mark, the same one he once had. She seems to notice it too and asks if he also had a salmon mark. He replies that he doesn't have it anymore, but that he did have it once. Still at night, Yena's grandmother arrives at the apartment to pick up her granddaughter. Jihyun opens the door and greets her politely. She asks if he is Dobin's father. He replies no, that both Dobin's mother and father went to the hospital. The lady understands the situation. Just then, her granddaughter sees her. Yena runs to her and introduces her grandmother to Uncle Jihyun. The man introduces himself as Jung Jihyun, a friend of Dobin's father. He explains that he just came to visit and ended up watching the kids. The lady thanks him and asks if Dobin's mother is okay. He replies that she is, that he just received a message saying she is feeling better. Outside, Yena says her uncle is very tall and that he could lift her very high. Her grandmother asks if she had fun playing with him. The little girl answers yes and also says she won the game of Go, although she admits she doesn't know if she really won or if her uncle let her win. Then, Yena sees someone and greets him, thinking it's her uncle. Her grandmother asks if he's there again. However, it was someone else. The girl explains that it's the police officer she mentioned earlier. The man introduces himself as Kwon Bail, an officer from the Hwayang police station. He asks if the lady is Yena's grandmother, mentioning that her daughter, Jung-oh, had told him about her. The lady, recognizing the officer, asks what brings him there. He replies that he is coming from work, as he lives right across from the dry cleaners. The grandmother smiles and says it's lucky to have a police officer nearby, as they feel safer. She hopes they get along well. He assures her not to worry and says goodbye to both. The lady thinks he's very handsome and wonders if Yena's father looked that young. Just then, her granddaughter calls her. Meanwhile, Eunbi felt annoyed that Lee Jung-oh was near her man and wanted to separate them. She admits she doesn't want to go to work, but can no longer justify more absences with leave days. Even so, she has nothing to hide, and thinks that if she investigates among Jung-oh's colleagues, she will surely find something. But she doesn't know anyone there. Then she gets an idea. She calls someone and introduces herself as Chae Eunbi, editorial manager of Max Planning. She asks the recruiter if he remembers her. She confesses she's interested in TH Communication and asks if he could introduce her to someone from that company. She asks for it to be as soon as possible. She reflects that she's going to expose all of Lee Jung-oh's dirty secrets. Meanwhile, Jung-oh is happy the work is done. Just then, someone congratulates her. When she looks to the side, she's surprised. It's the director. She quickly asks what he's doing there, since she thought he had an appointment. He replies that it's over and he came back for someone. Jung-oh doesn't understand, but he keeps looking at her. He says he saw someone beautiful and that person reminded him of someone equally beautiful. Then, an employee sees the director and asks if he stayed late at the company. He says he had to handle something and came back. The man informs him that he wants to show him an issue he'd like reviewed. The director says goodbye to Jung-oh and tells her they'll see each other tomorrow. She, for her part, remains silent, then says it's time to go. The next day, her mother asks if all that happened yesterday. She says yes, and that it was lucky Dobin's father's friend was visiting. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. She adds that Yena was delighted with Dobin's father's friend and kept talking about him, calling him uncle. She also says he's a very handsome man, clarifying that her granddaughter takes after her. Jung-oh, upon hearing that, tells her she's being very shallow. Her mother asks if she doesn't care about men's appearance. Her daughter replies calmly that she doesn't, that physical looks don't matter to her at all. Her mother says that's a lie, since Yena is very beautiful. But Jung-oh replies that she is like that because she inherited her beauty. Just then, Yena asks her mother why she arrived so late. She approaches her daughter, who had just woken up. Back at work, Eunbi walks down the hallway. Upon entering the office, she greets everyone, who greet her back. A coworker asks if she's feeling better since she took a sick day yesterday. She admits she was worried about the presentation and that there's a lot of work. She adds that almost everything is ready and hands over the plan for review. Eunbi, upon seeing it, asks if she can give her opinion. She says the plan seems very cliché and questions what the planning team is thinking. She says it's an old slogan with no new perspective or creativity. She says it doesn't show learning, that it won't work, and that the mother-daughter story is too cliché. She thinks, since the target audience is between 20 and 30, it would be better to focus on long-distance couples instead of a mother-daughter story. She confesses that if she had been in better shape, she would have proposed something much better. She regrets not doing it. Jung-oh, for her part, thinks Eunbi wanted to attack her, but she knows she's wrong. That slogan was the idea of manager Go Yoonju, who, by the way, was angry. Jung-oh says that the idea of long-distance couples was considered, but for a 15-second ad, it was too complex. Also, a mother-daughter love story has more impact in just a few seconds. Eunbi replies that she doesn't know if it's right, as she can't even imagine that ad. Therefore, she thinks it doesn't convey anything. Go Yoonju, hearing that, asks if maybe it's due to a lack of imagination. Eunbi asks manager Go Yoonju if she's going to replace manager Jo Shin-ae and if she received all the information about this week's trends. Eunju, instead of answering, asks Chae if she's going to attend today's meeting. She says yes and wants to know why she's asking. Her coworker replies that she just wanted to make sure she wasn't uncomfortable. She says she heard she broke up with director Jung Ji-hyun and that she received that information when the project was being transferred from manager Jo Shin-ae. She adds it must be hard, after waiting so long for a wedding that won't happen. Jung-oh, for her part, stays silent and only thinks that this is what she gets for messing with manager Go Yoonju. But then she wonders, how does she know what happened between Eunbi and Ji-hyun? She knows Eunbi is not the type to talk about those things. Then she wonders if all this was Ji-hyun's doing. Many thanks to the channel members, Raphaeltron and Sweet Tea, for their valuable support to this project. That said, see you in the next video.